Again, everybody, how we doing? It's the Mission Debrief with your folks and your friends here at Call Team 6, Special Ops for Car Dealers, no lead left behind. Welcome in, everybody, dealership owners, general managers, and also GSMs, and those of you out there who are BDC managers and fixed ops directors in dealerships all across the country. Welcome into the Mission Debrief. I'm Jeff Mays, one of the co-founders of Call Team 6, Special Ops for Car Dealers, virtual remote BDC company for dealerships all across the country, everywhere from South Florida all the way up to Washington and Oregon and California. And this is episode 11, Kilo, as we keep track of the military vernacular here. We like to keep that going. And we bring you insight and ways for you to be able to take a look at operational improvements, what's going on out there in the dealership world overall, and how that our insight and our decades of experience can help you win your markets in both variable and fixed operations. And with me today in studio once again are the two other partners of Call Team 6. We have one of the co-founders with us today, our CEO, Ken Kingstad, is with us, coming down all the way from New Jersey via Philadelphia. Ken, welcome again, man. Thanks for coming down.
It's always a pleasure to get out of that deep snow. We just got hit with about 2 foot, so I'm glad to get out of there and head down to Booker here and enjoy the weather, and also get on the podcast here and share some great tidbits of information to help our dealers take it to the next level. It's exciting.
No question, things are certainly heating up out there for dealerships as we head into 2026 for ways to be able to help people improve their operations and profitability. And then appreciate your coming down today. We're looking forward to today's episode. It's going to be really, really exciting. We have a special guest who's going to be joining us remotely today from Detroit. And also joining us, coming all the way from Huntersville, North Carolina, via Charlotte International Airport, we have our primary operations director and our COO, Mr. Ryan Mays, joining us in studio today. Once again, what is up?
What's going on, everybody? Still coming down off that NADA high?
Yes.
We're going to be talking about a lot of what's going on out there and what's not going on out there, right? So I'm excited to talk about that. Excited to see my good buddy Steve, who is joining us today remotely. Couldn't be happier. You're going to love the episode. Stick around. A lot to learn.
Speaking of which, first up, we want to make sure that we recognize today's sponsors of the program. First and foremost, is our friends at Podcast Junkies, podcastjunkies.com, for the very best in podcast production right here that we're coming to you from the Podcast Junkie Studios right here in the beautiful area, Meisner Park of Boca Raton, South Florida. Beautiful day down here, and these guys are top notch. If you're looking for, the very best in podcast production, facilities, and also social media management, make sure you hit up the guys at podcastjunkies.com. We certainly believe in it, and not only that, but these guys are on fire right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, they're getting a lot of national attention whenever it comes to podcast production. A lot of high-profile automotive podcasts are now starting to emanate and originate their actual program production facilities and their production podcasts from this very studio where you're seeing us broadcast from today. And then also we have today's sponsor. The other sponsor is WebBuy. You can see them on the screen right there. And if you're in the dealership space and you're in the dealership family or general manager or owner out there, and you're among the growing list of viewers we have each week since we've been putting this program on, you'll want to talk with them whenever it comes to applying a world-class, the most developed, complete end-to-end digital retail solution that's available to dealers out there. And we've got some special things to talk about, with that too. So a special shout out also today, not only to our sponsors, Podcast Junkies and WebBuy, but also to our music producer, Jay, back up in North Carolina. And then also a special shout out to our team right here of our production team. And I'm gonna go to him now. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen, because he's full of a lot of energy. That is engineer Eric today joining us in studio.
Woo!
What's up,
Thank
guys?
you. Yes. Thank you.
I'm back.
Yeah, Eric's back. Eric, hi, I'm Eric. And his special assistant today joining us is Jahan. Jahan, what is up, my man? He's there. You see him. You know him. You love him.
Yes.
All right. So we're looking forward to today. And thanks again to our sponsors. And look, you guys are talking a lot about NADA and everything that was going on there. And can I just say for all of our viewers out there, this is an exciting time to be in the automotive space, the automotive ecosphere. And, I know that, Ryan, I know it was all you could do to come down to make room in your schedule, come here down today because Call Team 6 is like on fire right now. It is. You've how many? I don't know. I'm not going to ask, or I don't even know how many new accounts you've put on just after NADA with the new agentic AI and all of that we've been featuring.
Yeah, well, I can tell you and leave you with one little note. It was an auto group down in Louisiana, just signed up officially like 2-3 days ago, and said, out of all the stuff floating around, you guys were the only people we signed up for on the spot. And so that's a huge compliment. I'm very proud of that.
Wow.
To be able to say. And I mean, listen, the traffic was incredible. As you guys know, may not know, we didn't do a booth this year. We actually did a suite. We alternate. This year was the suite year because we were launching our own agentic AI. And I mean, Ken, you can talk about this too. It was packed. AI is obviously the buzzword. But with our little twist onto it, I think having the live in-house supervision of the AI, it kind of just took storm. And I think I've lost count on how many we've been able to sign up. True story. But we're managing the team. I'm just telling you. Shout out to the teams that are in all 4 time zones, who are managing these accounts, bringing them on board, touching, loving, rubbing some bellies of our dealers who are out there, making them feel like that they are important because they are.
They are.
Because they are.
Yep.
And I think that's maybe some of the secret sauce we're seeing. But I couldn't be happier with the results. Looking forward to putting a lot of effort into that and driving some revenue, driving that ROI. It's the name of the game, boys.
I couldn't be more proud of what you guys are doing, sincerely, because I don't know that there's any external resource somebody could bring on who cares more about the dealer's success. I mean, just seeing what's happened over the past 4 or 5 years, and this is kind of like now the hockey stick launching point for taking our dealership partners where they want to go. And Ken, you were out there. You had a really great show out there, and not doing a lot of things, not just for Call Team 6 necessarily, but also introducing a lot of dealer appointments you had, which were back to back, stacked to the new relationship that we developed with Amazon AWS for bringing on the new Aria agentic AI solution for dealers.
Yeah, I will just say this: that to your point, we've had just one appointment after another. It was phenomenal. People came in after actually they went through the NAD had there's so much buzz right now with AI. So one of the classes that NAD put on was how do you pick the right AI, and secondly, what are the right questions to ask?
That's right.
And so we've had many dealers come in there and okay, hold on before we get started. I want you to answer these questions, and they would go through a litany of serious questions and about what is a real AI, because what I think a lot of times these dealers are getting they're getting not that we're not really kind of selling what it really is, but a lot of these AI bots aren't really they're middleware, if you will. There's not a lot of customization, and they're really not agentic. They're really just going through a series of kind of almost siloed in terms of, let's say if we're working service AI, it's siloed. If we're working a variable AI, it's siloed. And they don't communicate between the two silos. And so I think a lot of times dealers are getting exposed to these AIs that are jumping on, and they're getting discouraged with them. And so that's one of the things we discovered a lot of, but I would say that Ryan can talk this a little bit more too about what's different about what we're doing with the Amazon approach and so forth. But yeah, to your point, Jeff, it was really, really encouraging to see what we saw. And I really love the suite versus just going down on the floor.
A lot more intimate.
Very much so,
Less distracting.
And it was just, it was a great experience. And we can get to more into what what we've discovered from other dealers that were at the NADA, what they were looking for. So but excited about where we're at and where we're going, and it's exciting points.
To your point, in fact, I was listening to another program yesterday, late last night actually, and the guest on there actually really encapsulated, I think, a lot of what's out there that you're referring to, which is he actually used the term snake oil. There is a lot of snake oil out there whenever it comes to a lot of companies trying to be first to market and really getting ahead of themselves and purporting their products to be actual reasoning, thinking, predictive LLM models when they're actually just sophisticated chatbots. And just so you know, that's not, we've been living in the deepest parts of the ocean of this technology for the past 18 months and really developing it the same way that we've developed the company here, which is built by dealers for dealers. And I think you'll hear that catchphrase more with our guests coming up with those events as well. Because if you've been in the dealership space like I have for over 3 decades, you get pitched a lot of things from people who use a lot of technologically savvy vernacular and language, but they've never done a car deal. They've never sold a car. They've never followed up with a car dealership customer, prospect, or a service customer, handled anything like that. And so, I've always experienced that, that their solutions, oftentimes they're pitched very well. They're put together very well. They're very well versed and articulate in their presentations, but they don't really pivot to the things that we deal with every single day is in the dealership space that helps to solve our problems. And that's, to be candid, that's exactly what we do here. And I wanted to touch on that just for a moment, just for 30 seconds to our viewers out there, because we really appreciate your guys being here and tuning in with us again, because our viewership is growing each and every episode. And that's where we live. Just so you know what kind of content that we bring, it doesn't matter if you use us or not. We actually bring actionable items and things that you can execute on in your dealership today that involve and center around the 3 primary challenges that dealers face every single day, and that those are new customer acquisition, defection prevention, and missed opportunity re-engagement. That's where most of our content lies. And for those of you out there, just, if this is the first time you tuned in, we invite you to go back and watch and view other episodes previous to this one, where that we've actually touched on a lot of things that you could put in place today in those particular areas that I just mentioned, those 3 particular areas. And there were some of the previous episode topics where you can go back and refer to in our tactical tips areas, which are useful for dealerships to take action on. Examples of them would be like, in one episode, we really drilled down on playing to your strengths rather than your weaknesses and how to quartile your sales force and your BDC force. And also vanity metrics, how those can be damaging to what your dealership's trying to accomplish whenever it comes to growing your sales. And effective older lead engagement with methods that we've discussed here that help you to improve those. Daily variable manager task templates that Ken provided, that you at Intel at callteam6.com. You can still email us on that, and we'll send it out. And then service inbound call optimization and management, and then of course the latest in AI industry advancements. Those are just some of the things. If you like what you're viewing here and what you're listening to, those are things you can go back to some of our previous episodes and get a lot of good actionable intel on being able to help your teams win their markets and also help them excel in today's challenging environment. If you listened to last and watched the last episode, we talked a lot about getting back to the basics, how 2026 is a reset for dealerships, and how you really have to get good at blocking and tackling. And we helped to provide some good actionable items that you could start today on to help make sure that you're in position to win for this year, as we're still at just the outset for the year, because we think that the economic conditions are going to be fantastic out there and a lot of opportunities for dealerships moving forward. And we're excited for all of our dealership clients out there and viewers out there. We want to be part of what you're trying to accomplish and how you're trying to improve you've got Ken, who's the co-creator of the original BDC model, 30 plus years in the business. You've got Ryan competing in some of the most competitive markets in New York and in California, and also down south in the BDC area for 20 plus years now, coming right off the floor, moving himself up through the ranks, and also representing OEMs as well in your career, Ryan. So that's the reason why we're on here, is because we want to be able to give back now whenever it comes to helping dealerships succeed. So that's kind of the mission launch and field report segment of what we're doing here, and we're getting more excited about the opportunities and getting more encouraged by what we see out there with the advancements in technology, where that ultimately we feel like that we're positioned today. If you're looking at it from a dealership's point of view, we feel like that with the advancement of technology out there, that as dealers, we're finally going to be able to provide our dealership customers with the type of purchasing, servicing, and ownership experience that they've always wanted to have. And we're on the precipice of that. And with that, I no further ado, because I think the timing is perfect on this, that we bring somebody in who is a pioneer, I would say, whenever it comes to technological advancements over the past 10 years, but yet coming at it from a dealership's point of view, which means I don't know that there's been a better dealership partner out there who's walked the walk and talked the talk, and then lived the dealership experience in a successful fashion than our guest today, joining us from Detroit, right in the middle of an OEM meeting with Ford out there. I'd like to go ahead and introduce everybody now and let everybody know we're very honored and proud and privileged to have with us today our guest, who is Steve Zabawa of WebBuy and EasyCar, and an entire bevy of dealerships out there in the Pacific Northwest, and looking to grow from there. Steve, can't say enough about how much we really appreciate that you're joining us today, taking a little bit of time out of your factory meetings to be on here with us.
Happy to be here, Jeff, Ken, Ryan. You guys are amazing.
Back at
Just
you.
a little short deal. I met a guy named Ken Kingstad 32 years ago at my dealerships in Billings, Montana. I just
I'm so
bought
sorry.
one. I needed it. I know. That's what I was thinking.
We kid.
But then he brought the Mays family into my life also, and he has nothing but been able to me to go from a single dealership to over double digits now over the last 30 years. And you don't get there unless you're got a great tech stack, you got an amazing follow-up system, and you got great people around you, and they have to be trained the best. And Ken Kingstead, Jeff Mays, and Ryan, I can attest that they have helped our Rimrock Auto Group grow and do well over the years. And now they're cutting edge, and they're just taking it to a whole nother level. And with the helps of Amazon and others, people are really jumping on board left and right. And it's making my new dealership out in Stockton, California. Got beautiful new EasyCar dealership along with Nissan of Stockton right there. And
Yep.
we just opened up a gorgeous store up in Lewistown, Montana, that's got Chevy, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram truck to it. And then we've got another store that they helped me out on, is the Subaru store in Billings, Montana. So these guys you're in good hands with these three junkies. I guarantee you.
There's a first. There's a first.
Yeah, I love it.
We are car business junkies for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, Steve, your accomplishments precede you, and your career in the car business is certainly storied and successful. And can I just say that it's apparent to all of us that you are taking really good care of yourself as well. You're a really spry-looking young man.
Well, if you want to live as old as I'm living, you better watch what you put in your mouth, and then do a lot of working out. So
and I know you do that. You take your health very seriously. That's a good lesson for us guys.
Yep.
And I got a ton of kids and grandkids and a wonderful wife that I need to be there for them.
Amen.
And they said, hey, Pick up your game, Grandpa. So love to
Well,
do it.
you're in the car business. You're what we call a serious individual. And look, for the benefit of some of the other viewers out there, if you don't mind, just take a little bit of time and share with them your breadth of experience and your business ventures, and then we'll talk a little bit about that and what you're doing these days, because we know that you're not slowing down.
Yes, 32 years ago, we were looking for a car dealership, and there was one available in Montana, and the guy was willing to finance us. It was a General Motors store, and we put $1 down, and after 5 years, we were able to take it from 30 million to 70 million, and good profitability, and we're able to buy that gentleman out, Bert Arlen. He was an amazing uh, hey, really a great mentor, And then he brought us a Chrysler store shortly after that, and then we traded an Oldsmobile store in for a Subaru store. We bought a Kia store out of bankruptcy. I brought a Mercedes-Benz store from Pocatello, Idaho, to Billings, Montana. Also, I was fortunate to have a Chrysler store down in New Orleans. Got wiped out by Katrina. Not a good ending, but had a bunch of fun, and then I've been out buying lots of stores since then. But my most practical thing I've done for the last 10 years, I believe the car business is not only going AI, which is automation, right, and smart thinking and smart use of the technology that's available, but also the ability to actually buy a car digitally with a consumer-facing piece of software. And there's really nothing out there yet that actually is customizable and takes a customer from the website or from the showroom, wherever in the world, and takes them through a buying experience that is identical to whatever that dealership wants to offer, and how they normally offer it in the showroom. So we have that built now. It's 8,000 customizable pieces. It's taken me 10 years to do it, and it's called transactional. The company's called WebBuy. That's my company, and I've gotten so much great input from dealers all across the country. There's 10 auto groups that are investors in WebBuy, as well as some serious individuals that really want this to happen. So we want to be able to beat Carvana, beat CarMax at their own game. And we have the tool to do that now. It's taken a long time to get it there, but now you can digitally sign for your finance deals, your service contracts. You can trade in a car, you can get your payoffs, the whole thing. And we got a lot of great vendor partners that are the underlying, like Market Scan, Route One, Dealer Track, Cox, all sorts of great partners, bringing all the pieces together seamlessly. And now we're integrated into the DMSs and into the F&I dynamic pricing piece. So we're ready to go. If someone really wants to digitally retail a car, but the secret in the whole process is you need good communication tools like VidCall, as well as Call Team 6 to bring it together also. So it takes people, it takes vendor partners, it takes manufacturers, it takes lenders, and it's taken a ton of money to make this thing happen. But it's actually there now, and it's really, really cool to see. So what I love about Call Team 6 is that that's a huge piece of it. You know, the follow up to say the people don't buy. You need to be able to communicate quickly with them. You need to be able to text them. You need to be able to follow up with them. You need the AI, and you just need a lot of good things mixed in here. It's the car business is still the car business. We used to dial for dollars or just greet people out on the lot
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, but it's really evolved into a tech deal. And if you're on top of your tech, you're at top of the follow up systems, and you actually offer technology that's consumer facing, big word, consumer facing, where they can actually see what they're doing, and it's transparent and quick and accurate. Now you got something. And we have bought recently two stores, one up in Montana and then one over in California. We started out, one had doing about 25 cars a month, and we're over 100 a month now with that store. And then we also bought one out in California that was doing 60, 70 a month. And in December we did 137.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
and that's with these features, and we call it EasyCar. It's the easy way to buy a car if you think about it.
Yeah.
We've made it very difficult in the business to buy a car. It only takes 3 to 4 hours. It takes you go through about 6 pieces of software. You go from manager to manager, person to person. So a lot of humans, and we're really the last industry I think in the United States and maybe in the world that still sells things that way. Everybody else has digitized it.
Well, that's a great point that you mentioned because I'm thinking I'm listening to this and I'm a dealer out there or I'm a GM, and this kind of goes back to my point before actually your introduction, which in my view is rather salient to the discussions that are going on right now. Which is I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, Steve, I understand that there are quote unquote, the other, and you've got the scars to prove it that this is not a game. This digital retailing solution game is not for the weak of heart, right? Because you go out, you play in that area, you're going to get bumps and bruises because there's some big players out there, but a lot of them are just payment calculators. And this is why that we are so impressed with what you've been able to accomplish, because oftentimes the devil is in the details, which is, okay, you can even get down to sales tax and proper fees and all of that with a car deal online on a dealership's website. But to your point, whenever you want to transact, whenever you want to get a deal done, and you don't want to have to ask the customer necessarily to come in, that is where that the real challenges lie, and that is where that you've spent so much time, and your team, your production development team, over the years. I would imagine you probably would agree that's where the biggest challenges that you found in that part of it, which is the last parts of it. How do you present an accurate extended service contract to somebody remotely, and all of those things? How do you get the deal to the lender? How do you, and then once the lender gets everything squared away without having to go back and redo everything every single time and visit your tech stack, as you talked about, 4 or 5 different tools just to be able to do that? To me, that's the biggest barrier, and and this is what you've spent so much time and resources over the past, I'm sure years, but more concentratedly in the last 18 months. And I think above all else and above everyone else, you've realized that that's the keys to the kingdom, in my view, and that's where you've put all of your efforts and your resources in there. And I think you right now, as we know, you're coming out on the other side of that ahead of everybody else, which is, to me, is the end of the rainbow, the holy grail, so to speak. And so I think that it's timely that you're on here talking about these things now. And if I'm a dealer out there, I as opposed to just a snake oil solution that just provides payment calculations and down payments and everything, like you said, transactional. That's the key term, and I think that's where that you are actually succeeding now in being able to solve for that final piece of the puzzle for dealers out there to now. And I was looking at it as a dealer myself, where that if somebody wants to, whatever point they want to pick up at the dealership, how much ever time they want to spend pre-dealership visit, and whatever they want to complete at the dealership, or if they don't want to visit at all, that you actually can make an honest, accurate, detailed car deal happen digitally, remotely now. I know that was a long way to get to that point, but I think to me that's the difference with what you're doing versus some of the other players out there in that market.
Yeah, and with the original, my co-founding partner and I, over a decade ago, we said, hey, with 2 thumbs on an iPhone at 11 o'clock at night, can I get a car deal done with a trade-in, with a payoff, getting a loan involved in the thing, and buying a service contract and maybe a gap policy? How do you get that done? And then actually be able to roll that into the dealer management system of their choice, CDK, whatever they got, Cox and Automate or whatever, and be able to communicate with the 1,200 banks in our industry, right? So you have to have Route One and Dealer Track on board, and of course you got credit unions also, so you got to be able to utilize Cuddle. So we've come a long ways, but all these billion-dollar companies have partnered up with us, and we built it, we integrated it, it actually works. But the hardest thing to do on this is not only get all that to work, but it's got to be simple. It's got to be light. It's got to be simple. It's got to be one page. And that's the difference between us and everybody else. There were 40 of us or 50 of us with Brian Pash that started this adventure 7 years ago when COVID had hit.
Yep.
And everybody wanted to communicate, and we were all trying to get our digital retailing tool out there. Well, at the end of the day, pretty much 40 have disappeared off the face of the earth.
Right.
There's about 10 left. Half of them are manufacturer tools, And if anybody knows what a manufacturer tool is like, it's the way they want to sell a car, not the way the dealer wants to sell a car. So I'm a car dealer, so it's dealer built, dealer centric, but it still does all the incentives and rebates and accessories and all the things that the factory wants, including their service contracts. And we have teamed up with like Impel to do rich merchandising in there. We've teamed up with Call Team 6 to be integrated into that. So we really gone out to the best people in the world. We've personally picked the best vendors to pull this off because, as you know, there's a lot of pretenders in the industry in all the different categories.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are real, and you have to be able to make that quick and efficient. We've done that with AWS, and we're really blessed. I can say I'm finally at the end of the integration piece, end of the dynamic F&I pricing. We have the digital signatures now working, and we can do Route One, we can do DocuSign, or we can do dealer track signing. So it's really cool. I mean, to see it actually work, I mean, it's been blood, sweat, and tears. I can't tell you how much money I poured into this
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
My wife thinks I'm the craziest person in the world, but
She would
it's
anyway, Steve.
Yeah.
They always do.
Little does she know after all those years.
Well,
I've pushed it to the end.
Did you have to ask your wife for permission before you started this? Before you bought that car?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the funny thing, I think going back to these new stores under the EasyCar model, I look at how you were able to get this go from the start, to where you're at today, and over doubling the numbers, And if you look at that growth, a lot of that growth is in customers that are looking for that easy way of going about buying a car, And I love the 7-day, test drive and all of those things, the delivery, all the things that you've added to it as well. It just makes sense. There's just, if you talk to the average person, right, looking for a car dealer, buying a car dealership, buying a car, right? Yeah. And when you do that, you say, well, I just hate the process. And we know that. And just look at how many of those brown boxes show up at your house every single day, month. I know at my house with 4 kids and my wife, it's every day, someone's dropping someone else off.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. And so you look at, I think, the digital way of buying a car, being able to do it transactionally, like Steve's talking about, and then offering the delivery. That's how you go from, your DMA to how you expand that to, maybe hours away. But you look at how many people would be willing to transact that way outside your DMA if given the opportunity, if you have the right tool. And then the key, I think, is the process, being able to put that manager up in the air who's actually being able to do one-touch person who can, like what we're doing here with you and EasyCar. We got one manager who can actually touch the customer, like a general manager working from wherever, and being able to help guide the person through a video call through the entire process. I think, again, we're really onto something big here, and I think, and here's the deal: the results are in the proof. Going more than doubling the business in a very short window. It comes down to a tool that works with people that actually give the customer empathy and consideration, and allow them to transact in a way that they can sit at their couch and buy a car, which I think is phenomenal.
I do have one question to that. So you're talking about doubling the business, and you guys will know this, or Steve, maybe you do. And I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, but you've doubled the business. How many of those can you attribute to doing your live video calling and being able to complete a deal, soup to nuts, with your WebBuy platform?
Well, it would be it's a good chunk of the business. I don't know, I haven't actually broken down yet. We're just been so busy just trying to get the deals booked and done. But pretty much every customer somehow off the website or in the showroom. You got to remember, we use this in the showroom.
Yeah.
So instead of the paper going back and forth with the customer, that's the old way, right? The dealer's got a facing computer to see what the numbers are, but they don't show those numbers to the customer. So we actually show the numbers to the customer in a beautiful way that they can understand it, a simple way, and they just punch the buttons along with our one-touch consultant, and they formulate their deal.
Yeah.
And the customers absolutely love it. And then the salespeople love it because they don't have to be so dependent upon the those desk managers, control freaks up there, eating their cheeseburger and got three other people in front of them, they can actually do it right away.
Easy. That's our audience you're talking to, Steve. Easy.
Oh, I know, and they know what they're doing. So it's all right.
Probably eating
Call
right
it
now.
what it is.
Probably watching
I'm
this
the
over
same
lunch.
way. I had to look myself in the mirror, guys,
Yeah.
and say that's what I was the ultimate,
You're right.
restrictive. I want everybody in my showroom. I want them, don't talk any numbers and all that stuff. Well, it's not today's world anymore. So we
True.
do need
Right.
to, you don't have to be all in. You can just allow the customers that want to do it that way, do it the WebBuy way, right? The EasyCar way,
Mm.
and let the rest of the customers go through the normal gauntlet.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and that's
I suggest you offer both, and then over the next 10 years, you'll see that go from 10% to 20% to 30% to maybe to 50%. But the salespeople are never going to go away. Desk managers are never going to go away. F&I is never going to go away. You still need people to help you go through the process.
And I think that Eric could attest to this, our engineer there, that there's nothing customers like to do more than to spend an entire Saturday buying a car.
Yeah. Nobody loves that.
I mean, if I had to choose between the beach here in Boca or
Yeah.
buying a car on a Saturday,
Yeah.
you'll catch me on the showroom.
My point being, Steve, that you're solving for a lot of that in that, to your point, you sit with somebody, you got one person, oftentimes in that scenario, deals are getting done in 30 minutes or less, all the way through,
Yeah.
completely transparent. Customers they would prefer to do it that way, or they prefer to do it that way remotely with somebody walking them through the process, which, according to what you're saying, is what EasyCar is all about, and the group of EasyCar centric dealerships, with that group that you're building.
Well, I've studied CarMax. I bought cars from CarMax. I bought cars from Carvana just to go through their experience. And it is just quicker, better, faster. That's the bottom line. That's why, they're selling 50,000 cars a month at Carvana. Think about that. And they've gotten good at it actually now too. And they're growing nicely. And their shares I think they're a $75 billion company now. So they're no joke out there anymore. They had their moments with no used cars back in COVID, but Ernie and his team, they've gotten after it. And CarMax, they're doing 60, 70, 80,000 cars a month right now. And they do have just a nice, simple way of doing it in the showroom or online. So they've expanded online, and then Carvana, of course, has gotten into buying Chrysler stores. So they're starting to do it in stores also.
Right. Yeah.
So we know you're never sitting down. We have a few minutes left in this particular episode. For our dealership centric viewers out there and folks, it's primarily our audience, our other dealers and dealership personnel. What are you working on right now that you're even taking the platform to the next level with, taking advantage of today's advancements in technology? Just to give everybody a kind of a summary on that.
Well, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm at Ford's world headquarters. I'm in the experience center here right now. And so I'm just listening to what they have for AI upstairs with the other dealers. And it's been very interesting. I'm going through my executive training. Uh, but as far as the AI piece of it, my wife came up with a really good deal. So if you take a 10-gallon tin can back in the early 70s of gasoline, they came out with these things that were called gasoline pumps. And you could actually pull the hose off the deal, put it in the back of your tank in your car, but nobody trusted it. Okay. They wouldn't trust the actual nozzle. They didn't believe are getting 10 gallons exactly and what the price was and so forth. So, but you know what she wanted to do, she poured it into a 10 gallon tin can, put it in there, and then she put that into the car to make sure she got her 10 gallons. Right. That is where we're at right now. Someone just has to go try the product out, and through automation, intelligent automation, and something that is quicker, better, faster, and has AI built into it. So we have, Agenta uh, processes built in within WebBuy now, seamless. We have a lady named Bella. And then we have you with Call Team 6 that has awesome stuff that just is quicker, better, faster, and with less humans. And so we can stretch our humans farther by having great technology. So when I use this in my Rimrock Subaru, my number one lady in there just an amazing woman, and she sells a lot of cars. But she says, this is so simple. It's allowed me to sell another 3, 4, 5 cars a month consistently. Well, that adds up to a lot of money.
Yep.
And then for me, as far as the dealer, I got less people to deal with. I don't have to go out and recruit as many, and the same thing in the BDC. It's tough to have a BDC and turnover there and so forth. So we need to give the tools to our employees back in service, up in sales in the reception center area, in our BDC, and with our salespeople that are consumer facing, that include text, includes voicemails, includes the ability to do beautiful emails, orchestrated gorgeously. I was always a C+ player in English, and now I'm an A+ player. My English teacher would be so proud of me today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
but those things like Chat GP just make it nice. And our follow-up notes and everything within the CRM is really important. So now we've exploded with higher quality messaging, higher quality communication tools, quicker tools, and more. And they're so automated that you just get in more touches with that client to move them forward. So, and that's the secret right now. So, all I know is Amazon picked Call Team 6, so I'm going with those guys.
Well, that certainly answers the question, and that I'm sure a lot of our viewers out there who are running dealerships and working in dealerships want to know, which is, who can we look to just for good advice whenever it comes to the changing landscape out there that is advancing right now at a very fast pace, more so than I'm sure you would agree, at any time previously for the past 30 plus years. I mean, we've talked about here before that the traditional automotive dealership CRMs, they're dead. They were sitting there, collecting their money and providing, average services at best whenever it comes to providing, good, solid dealership resources on customer follow-up and everything. And all of a sudden you got AI comes along and it like literally leapfrogs them to the point where that now most of those systems they're just, I've said it before, they're just dead. So, providing resources like this to help customers transact, like what you're saying, I would imagine if I'm a viewer out there right now in the automotive dealership world, watching what we're doing here, I would say, that I don't know if there's any more compelling content right now or anything you could be listening to or watching that could help you advance and really solidify your operations than the things that we're talking about right now with Steve.
Yeah.
So with that, that brings a close to our mission launch and field report segment. Just real quick, Steve, if you have a couple of minutes, we're going to stick around. We're going to go to Eric here for our mission wrap portion of the program, which typically involves viewer questions. Eric, I think somebody's got a question, right?
Yeah, I have it here. This is a question for Steve from a subscriber, William. He asks, what effects do you think AI will have on CRM operations in the next 5 years?
Uh, everything. Just I got to say everything. That's what so far the leading AI tools that have been invented allow the salesperson, the BDC person, the dealer, the used car manager, the new car manager to improve their communication and 100%, because most people in the car business, they don't write very well, they don't follow up as well as they should, right? And here we're making them into A players, so you're just going to have a lot more car deals. Whoever jumps on board, that consumer is going to appreciate a good quality, well thought out, robust answer, and in a professional manner and quickly. And it may come on their phone, it may come in their email, it may come on a vid call, so that vid call's big, and then the tool to actually have a consumer facing piece of software where you can walk it through the customer is going to be huge. Those are the big things that are going to make the world different. And I believe WebBuy, and this was my point with my wife, is that people will start trusting that fuel, that pump to pump that gas in there, that it is accurate, that it does work, because nothing's worked up. AutoNation spent $100 million. Capital One spent a similar type money. Car Gurus has spent a similar type. Lithia tried to spend the same money, but nobody's actually got a functioning transactional, omni, seamless digital retailing sales platform
Hmm.
from soup to nuts that's customized to do it the same way the car dealer does it. So think about every word I just said. Those are tough words to get to. It's easy to build a lead getter. It's extremely difficult to build a transactional tool that actually works and is quick and good looking. So that's what we have, and we'd love to help anybody out there in on the call here. So you just go to webbuy.com, WEBBUY.com, and we'll be happy to help you, show you what we got.
Yeah, I want to just
Beautiful.
echo one thing on top of what Steve said too. Everything he said was spot on, and actually, it's legitimately what it is. It actually can transact, and I'm on the human side of things. That's where I've always spent my life, and I love AI, but it's also that person who's delivering and helping and coaching the customer too. Sure, you can jump on there and you can do it with no humans at all, and you can transact the entire experience. If the customer does have a question, the part that I love is you can just click the little button which opens up a video call right there, bam, and you got a general manager type guy or gal who's right there ready to answer questions, not check with someone else, not play the runaround game, but can have straight talk, laying the cards face up in a way which is, like, for me, what we teach is where we can speak empathetically, where you can hear the customer. Customers don't do this kind of transaction because they're bored and tired, but they literally, they want answers. And I feel like, when we teach our people to work through this process, with like EasyCar and so forth, I say you got to listen to the customer. You have to actively listen to what the question is, because there's always a question behind the question. And so when you speak to the customer, make sure you restate, validate, clarify, show empathy. Utilize a lot of people. I think that if I like, listen, and trust this person, I feel like I want to transact with the person, especially when you're laying your cards face up and you're giving them sincere answers to their questions. I mean, how could you fail? That's the biggest thing. You can't fail, because this is what every customer, I don't care who you are, where you're at, I don't care. You ask 100 customers out of 100 customers, and every one of them is going to say, I would love that to be the case. Tell me where. And I think that's the future, And so, I rambled a little bit here, but I just wanted to echo what Steve said, because everything he said was spot on, and you can do it. And then a part that I love that's different, though, is you can click the button and engage with a human being at the same time for additional help.
Well, to Steve's point, it's elevating the trust factor, because one of the reasons why, at least what I've read, why consumers, and it makes sense to me, why that they are a little reticent to engage with on such a large purchase with an entirely automated fashion or process, is they're afraid they're going to buy something.
Right.
I'm going to click something and I'm going to give too much information, or I'm going to buy something that I that I didn't want to buy. It's going to, so there's that apprehension there, which I think, with what Steve mentioned, that particular WebBuy solution is working to solve, and even more so, to your point, if you add in the human aspect of it with the vid call and coaching through the process, which Steve, I think, has made a big solve there with EasyCar to be able to do remotely, I think it bridges a gap for a lot of people with that transparency and allowing them to feel more comfortable about what they've always wanted to do, which is to make it easier and quicker to be able to transact on something like that.
Yeah.
Ryan, you work with dealers. Some dealers use some of your Call Team 6 dealerships who are clients. They utilize digital retailing solutions, and some of them don't really do that, right? You deal with both types. What are you seeing out there that your dealerships are seeing a difference in utilizing one or the other?
Well, I can tell you, for our stores who use WebBuy, the big thing about that is it tells you where they left off, where the customer leaves off. So I can answer kind of from a BDC perspective. It makes it very easy to read the lead and see where you need to pick up the conversation. And of course, you also talked about the live video call. I mean, that's kind of changed the game when it comes to that. Is you can get to, we call him the deal maker. Shout out to Joey out there in the audience. That was his phrase, and I've stolen it. and so you can reach somebody who can directly do it, but you keep them. I'm digital marketing hat by trade too. You keep them in the same ecosystem. They're not branching off anywhere. So they get to stay right on the screen. They get to video somebody, get to answer it. Wherever they fall off, though, the BDC can pick right up. Hey, listen, I saw where you stopped the process through the trade. What about that made you hesitate or made you stop that I can maybe help out with? And you can continue that conversation with it. So that's a big differentiator with that. At least from a BDC standpoint, it makes it very easy to continue for that continuity.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think it's extremely useful if I'm at a dealership working, wanting to know how that actually helps. And I think Steve would echo that as well. That a lot of these digital retailing tools. They actually take you to a different site, take it off the dealership site and everything. Like you said, it allows the dealership to be much more
so frustrating
in control of the process, right? To be able to pick up where you left off, create your own account, and all of that. Yeah. So, listen, this is all the time we've got for today's episode 11 Kilo of the Mission Debrief here with your friends, Call Team 6, Special Ops for Car Dealers, bringing you the Mission Debrief. And we'd like to thank, again, our guest, Steve Zabawa, a true automotive visionary and entrepreneur, an accomplished guy in every sense in this business, and has a track record of decades of hard work and toil to prove it. So, Steve, thanks for being on today. You're taking time out of your visit up there in Detroit with the Ford OEM team.
Time to graduate from my executive deal. If you get a chance to come up here to Dearborn, the Henry Ford Museum is incredible. Their world headquarters is incredible. Their customer service, there's this customer experience deal is incredible. And I'm very excited. After 30 years, finally became a Ford dealer.
Well, I think we'll be up there. Digital dealers in Detroit this year.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And then Ford Direct's up here for all the Ford dealers across the country, and they love WebBuy too. So it's all good. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
all right.
Steve.
We'll talk to you soon. And thanks to everybody out there for visiting and for joining us today on this episode of this program. And thanks again to our sponsors, Podcast Junkies. Check those guys out at podcastjunkies.com. But when you're wanting to put together a very a well-engineered facility and process that they have here in the studios in South Florida, they'll take very good care of you. And then also a WebBuy digital retailing solution, as we just mentioned, for dealerships all across the country. And thanks again to Jay, our music producer, and our social media engineer up there, putting together all of our clips out there on all of our social media. Ryan, where can people find us again for full episodes and clips?
Spotify is where you want to go. YouTube, you can go there. That's where you find the full episode. And of course, our socials. We're all over the place. Facebook, formerly X, formerly known as Twitter.
There you go.
Instagram, right? The CT6 Express. If you're not on board with the CT6 Express, you gotta look. You gotta find us, because we're out traveling. We put boots on the ground, pun intended, to go visit our dealers. It's it's a ton of fun. You can follow us there. See where we're gonna stop next.
Where are you headed next, Ken?
Wow, I'm going to California, actually. Heading to California to see a Nissan store, and then Montana as well. Got to go visit Steve a little bit and shake hands out there.
There you go.
Then we're in Atlanta.
Yeah, then we're back to Atlanta.
Back to Atlanta right after that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Moving and shaking on behalf
of
of our dealership clients, trying to do the best we can to help you do the best that you can. And again, shout out to our engineer, Eric. Eric, thanks, man. Appreciate everything. All right?
Yeah.
All right?
Of course. Anything for you guys.
For those of you watching, Eric's developing his own social media following through this program alone. Not that he needs the help, but, anything we can do for the cause, right?
Yes.
Sir,
It's
guys.
called I'mEric.com. That's all it is.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a close episode 11 Kilo of the Mission Debrief, brought to you again by your friends and associates here at Call Team 6, Special Ops for Car Dealers. Remember, with us, it's no lead left behind. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Everybody, happy hunting out there, and have a great rest of the month.